Well, good morning.
Greetings,
Good
Ron.
afternoon.
Good afternoon for me and good morning for you. Oh, is it afternoon where you are now? Oh,
No,
no, it's still
no.
morning.
Oh
Okay.
no, it's just before 8 o'clock. It's 7:55 by my computer, but it says 7:56 up
Uh-huh.
there. They're
Well, we're
about a
both
minute and a half or 2 minutes difference.
we're both on the day side, so that's what matters. I just got through skimming basically through your video because there were some points that it reminded me that I had wanted to make in our conversation today. And you talked about Monsanto, of course, and there's a lot of synchronicities going on in relation to that. A friend of mine had gone to the dentist the other day, for example, and her mouth was open, so she couldn't talk. But some other woman was there, and she was saying, "Oh, doctor, how's your stomach pains, your abdominal pains?" And the doctor says, "Yeah, I never used to get these, but they're horrible." But she said, "Well, I ate something yesterday. I ate corn, and it gave me a really bad bellyache, and I've been getting these chronic belly aches." And the guy said, "Is the corn preservatives? Does it have chemicals? I don't see what's happening." And I was like, I told the woman, "Look, you should have told them that they're eating genetically modified corn." And because what this does is bind with your gut lining and it starts to produce pesticides in your gut. So you're being poisoned. That's the whole thing. And the other part is they produce vaccines. So you're getting vaccinated with these horrible viral derivatives and pesticides as you eat the stuff. And they still barely believe it. And then there's this myth that says that Europe has banned genetically modified foods. America, there was a time when the U.S. did not allegedly allow genetically modified foods, but I read somewhere that they had been in distribution 10 years before the information started to get out. And countries like Hungary, they would get flamethrowers and just burn the cornfields where they tried to put the genetically modified corn in, but they embargoed them. They paid off the politicians. They brought in agent provocateurs to start unrest. So they're forcing the stuff. And currently, they sold a lot of agricultural land to the Chinese who are going to bring in genetically modified stuff to the point that, and they're making any kind of farmer's market illegal and any kind of personal planting. All of the seeds that you get have to be genetically modified. They're distributing seeds for free and telling the people, "We're giving you jobs now to be agriculturalists, but you're going to use our seeds and stuff." And people are getting sick, and they're getting sicker. So it's actually a myth, I believe, that they're banning genetically modified foods. They're just not. They're saying they're banning it, like they do a lot in a lot of things, but the stuff is being pushed incredibly because in Greece there's a big tradition on natural foods. People grow their own foods. Everybody has a village somewhere with relatives that give them their cheese, they give them their honey, and their vegetables and their meat. I mean, all the meat and eggs that I get are free range, for example. Naturally because there's villages around and there's cow fields and all of that. But I'd like to point this out because you asked, well, do the marches do anything? And during your, even a while ago, one of my greatest arguments was look at the establishment, look at what they're doing. If you want to see that what you're doing is having an effect, look at what they're doing in response. They're going to up the ante if they feel threatened. Well, how do they know that they're feeling threatened? Well, look at Bill Brockbrader and all of the information that he provided on predictive computers, on the crystal balls that they have, on the psychics that they use. But even if we take out the psychics, let's look at just the predict. These people are obsessed with divination. Call it scientific, predictive algorithms, or whatever, but they're obsessed. They're freaked out. I know the feeling. When I first started learning tarot cards and all these other divination methods, it's almost like a kid in the candy store. Oh, wow, what's going to happen now? I know what's going to happen. What a great. But if you're on any kind of power trip and you want to control people, it's a big deal to be able to think you can predict what they're going to do. Look at Google, their surveillance, the marketing stuff, all of the trend forecasting. These people are obsessed with prediction. And that's a big thing. And I believe people need to remind themselves that anybody who's so obsessed is not a very secure person. And every time they feel insecure, they're going to run back to the predictive algorithm. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? What are they going to do? Is, Snow White's moving around again. I thought I gave her the poison apple. Why is she still stirring? So yesterday, everybody was wondering, why are tens of planes in the sky all over the place, chemtrails? And I noticed that every time there's a demonstration, every time there's a global demonstration or a local demonstration, the planes just fly out and start the chemtrails on an impossible level, depending on the degree of demonstrating or the degree that there's an indication that the people are going to rise up. Even if there isn't a demonstration, if they're going to propose something that they predict people are going to get angry about, they throw the chemtrails. And why would they do that? There's all of this misinformation going on that's quasi misinformation, where they emphasize that chemtrails are about geoengineering and weather modification, which is true. And occasionally they emphasize the other aspect, that they're actually throwing stuff from the sky. They're throwing, viruses and other chemicals and stuff. But primarily what they're doing is setting up a reflective metallic layer so they can beam in electromagnetic radiation with certain patterns, behavioral conditioning patterns that reflect off of the sky like a mirror down to targeting areas. And they sweep these areas. The symptom of this is a kind of hangover-like feeling. So if you're feeling dizzy, and if you're feeling disoriented, and if you're feeling confused and maybe even depressed, you might want to look at the sky and see if is a prevalence of chemtrails. And of course, as the stuff starts falling down, you're going to have similar symptoms again. But if they just start throwing the stuff in the sky, and then you notice before it has had a chance to really settle, then you're going to, it's probably electromagnetic, and that is because of behavioral conditioning. There's a thing that many people are exceedingly harsh, and understandably so, about all of us who are still asleep and not getting up and doing something about it. Well, if you had microwaves blasting in your head 24/7, we are not under normal conditions. We are under attack. And they enhance the attack every time they feel threatened. So this is what happens. Whenever there's a march, these people push the button and see, what are the probabilities of this leading to something? What are the probabilities? Mirror, mirror on the wall. How secure is my power? And the mirror says that, well, this thing can easily escalate. There are so-and-so probabilities that one thing will lead to another. And you have to stop the enthusiasm of the people from catching like wildfire. They're afraid of the 100th monkey effect, and they use these behavioral modification things, plus chilling effects and terror tactics through the media in order to dampen it. So my tactic, and why, the way I express myself, is to say, look at this symptomology first, and second, understand that if they're attacking you, they're afraid of something. So through their own vector of attack, you can actually discover what they're afraid of and cultivate it.
Aristo, have you heard of the movie Solar Revolution?
I heard you mention it once, but enlighten me, please.
I'm showing it actually Thursday night. I have not watched it myself, but it's a German scientist who is proposing that the sunspots and the solar flares and all of the increased activity on the sun is actually changing our DNA and overcoming anything that the cabal might be doing with their antics. It's actually supporting the evolution of our consciousness. And I was thinking about that as you're saying all that the cabal is doing to try to keep everything under wraps. I was trying to steer it in a little bit of a different direction that says there's cosmic things that are happening that are pushing the cabal stuff out of the way, almost not out of the way, but countering the influence.
You probably are familiar with ancient mythologies where the gods or the guides or the angels would come to the hero and they would say, here is, to overcome the foe, here is the magic weapon, here is the secret word, here is the. So, this is what this reflects an understanding of what exactly the role of the cosmos is. It comes to us and it says, here is your resource, here is what I'm offering you. And now that you have this, you can come and meet me halfway. And if you meet me halfway through your effort, see, that's the thing. A lot of people say, oh, when's the cosmos going to come and save us or come all the way? It's like the cosmos is like the sage on the mountain that comes to you and says, in your dreams or whatever, and says, here is the magic sword, and you can go kill the evil sorcerer with it or whatever. Here is the secret potion that will help you when you go into the fortress of the bad guy or whatever. The thing is that this is very true. From a physics point of view, this is not just light coming in. We're talking about an electromagnetic field around the Earth that is literally played like an instrument through complex patterns of plasma coming from the sun that are the same patterns that nurtured our own DNA from the get-go before we were even humans, before biology was even, biology. And there is a continuity, a relationship, not just with the sun, but with all the stars. Most of the esoteric traditions on the planet relate to the stars and our connection with them, and the New Age traditions as well, and the connection between the stars and the earth and us as the link between heaven and earth. Heaven is coming to earth, and it's coming through us. So, what are we going to do about it? So and you're asking, one person asked, like, why are they trying to block the sun? Oh, because of global warming. But there is no global warming. We know this. They're trying to block the sun because they know exactly not just not just the mysticism of it, but the physics of it. Your body is an electromagnetically tuned instrument. And, it is through electromagnetic fields that the DNA activates. When your psyche alters or when you have a mood, you generate a corresponding electromagnetic field. That is how the moods move into the molecular structure and actually awaken DNA. All chemistry is electromagnetic interactions. Everything. It's all connected in this symphony of electromagnetic dancing. So now we have not just the sun, but the galaxy, because the solar system is surrounded by this gigantic egg. And this is played by all the galactic waves. And these are tuning the sun that is like a step-down transformer to us. And the moon plays a role in all of these things. So if you open up to what's going on inside you, there's this tremendous turmoil going on between what the cosmos is doing and what the denial is doing. And you're in the middle. And again, the question to everybody is, what are you going to do about it? Not just going out in the street, whatever, which is definitely, that's not what they're afraid of. It's not the mechanical act of going out in the street, but as you say, it is the consciousness that emerges from that mechanical act.
It's the energy.
It's the energy.
Everything creates an energy pattern.
Exactly.
And it's the energy patterns that are at work tremendously. I listened to, I don't know if you ever heard of Bill Donahue, that preacher from New Jersey, from Forked River.
Listen to a lot of his stuff, yeah.
Yeah, he's really good. He puts a lot of things together for someone that's a biblicist that preaches from the Bible. He sure presents a different attitude and a different perspective than most Christian apologists would. And he was talking the other day. I listened to one of his videos. He says the tabernacle of God is with men. In other words, God lives in us.
Exactly.
And this is the awakening and the real revelation, if you will, of what's happening on our planet. Even with all of this dark stuff increasing, it's increasing because the lights are coming on, as I said in today's video.
Well, look at normal biology. I mean, whenever there's a stress in the environment, we adapt. We don't just adapt to it passively. We alter our, biology alters its DNA, its structure and behavior and everything. In evolution, you have new life coming out, new options, new abilities. And now this is happening at a very accelerated pace.
Indeed.
We're not growing new wings or arms or legs, but electromagnetically, there's an unprecedented transformation. So we can build immunity to these electromagnetic bombardments through what's going on with the sun. It's vaccinating us. The true vaccination to the whole insanity is coming from the cosmos, but it's up to us to actually cultivate the seeds that are being planted within us and discover how and not be daunted by the matrix's definition of things. You can I mean, there's been a tremendous crazy campaign to throw things over the top in one direction. For example, oh, they're coming, the saviors, the whatever, all you have to do is just sit back and everything's going to be done for you miraculously under the pretext of not being limited. But at the same time, there's all this other, nothing's going to happen, and we're, these two extremes of nothing's going to happen or everything's going to happen in order to keep us from the middle. From I can do because there's a natural precedence. This is not just pie in the sky mysticism. There's physics behind it, but it's not the physics that they're going to accredit or it's not going to tell you. But it is hardcore reality. The fact is that we are designed to discover our genetic potential if we but intend it and open to how we can become immune to the electromagnetic stuff. We can become immune to the propaganda. We can become immune even to a certain extent to the genetic insanity.
Modification.
Exactly. Because that's what immunity is. A virus comes and we have immunity. We build it. But the thing is, along with that, we assist ourselves because we can intend an outcome of events, for example, not something miraculous at this point, but say, okay, what foods can I eat that are going to set this back a little bit and give me time to build immunity so it's unavoidable that we do imbibe some kind of genetic whatever toxin. But if we minimize it, it's going to be like the shaman who takes a little bit of snake poison every day in order to be able to be immune to it. And in this way, they're helping us. The establishment is actually helping us as long as we don't fall passively into what they're doing. The whole scenario is designed for us to be meeting them and transforming the situation.
Well, the thing is, from my perspective, we are actually being genetically modified, but it's a cosmic genetic modification.
Exactly. It's an that is the awakening. It's an awakening at the cellular level. That's why I emphasize being grounded into body and not being and altering the conception of saying, well, this is just the body as a separate thing from me. No, it's a continuation of the being, and as long as the more that it's affirmed, how can you love another person and be one with another person if you're not one in the embodiment level?
Right. How can you love someone else's body if you don't even love your own?
Exactly.
And I'm hoping to get into that in the relative near future to meet my friend from Quebec. So
exactly. I mean, even if you're not, there's two separate things: being satisfied with your body and yourself, or the being that you are, and loving it. You can love something without being satisfied with it, especially if it's your own, because that's how transformation occurs. You go from the form that doesn't satisfy you to the form that does satisfy you, and love is the way it happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're definitely in a transition, and I've been trying my best to focus as much as possible on the positive changes that we have available to us. I don't believe any of the changes are being forced upon us yet. In a way, just as the bombardment from the negative aspect from the cabal is affecting everybody, so everyone is also being affected by the cosmic bombardment of the photons or whatever you want to talk about on the positive side. So we can't avoid the bombardment, whether we like it or not, but we do have a choice in how much we want to open and which direction we want to open to.
Look, you mentioned about the ninth wave, and I started listening to you because of the ninth wave information, that it was a disappointment. But what exactly, Kalaman didn't really understand, in my opinion, what the ninth wave was about. It's about plugging heaven and earth together. The underworlds come up, and the underworlds are literally all the stuff we don't want to face. It's not a pleasant thing. They call them the nine hells, and the overworlds come down to meet them, to the point that it occurs at the unit of time in the present moment. So all present moments from now on are defined by the union of heaven and earth. Now, what does that mean for us? Well, that still means we need to adapt to this. It needs, this is the definition of what, of the structure of events from now on for us. And we're not used to that. We're resistant. We're saying, I don't want to. Yeah, well, that's the inertia and the resistance of the material plane. Being in the material plane, it maintains the structure by saying, well, I'm not going to change. I'm maintaining this. So we become creators by harnessing this and saying, yes, if I like it, if it's good, I'm sustaining the structure. If I don't like it, then I'm transforming the structure. And I can turn off the inertia and move toward fluidity, even if I have to overcome, but I need to integrate all of the underworlds. And heaven is coming to help us to do that. Actually, it's the other side of the equation: underworld, us, heaven. And it's very difficult to put them all together. We usually focus on one or the other. Oh, I'm just looking at the underworlds, I'm helpless. Oh, there's heaven and I'm fine. And but if you look at yourself, then you can hold both of them in each hand and bring them together.
Yeah, we are actually the middle ground. We're the ones where
Exactly.
they come together within humanity.
Exactly.
And it's discovering the Christ or the divine within
Exactly.
us that actually merges with the human us and creates literally a new creature.
You know,
That's what the mystics have said forever.
do you
We're
know the
becoming
Hindus, they call the guru is actually an internal thing. It's an internal, it's called the inner authority, and they call it Isa, which sounds very much like Jesus in a way. But this, or the inner guide, this inner guide is actually what the guru is. And the first thing in mystical realization is to awaken the inner guide. So you don't need outside information, but as the outside information actually comes, it becomes incorporated. This is what I encourage in people, because it's not that difficult. I mean, you open up to your inner guidance. You say, Spirit said this and Spirit said that and all of this. And it always says, well, don't worry, Ron, it's all good. But you want to know how it's all good.
and what kind of pain do I have to go through before I get to where I want to be? That's
Exactly. Well,
always a concern
exactly. But, and the
because
thing
I've been
is,
programmed. I've been
exactly.
programmed.
And now that's why I emphasize we have the right to choose how much pain, and it's not, how much we confront. As long as we're at our natural frontier where it doesn't hurt us, but we're still feeling, it's like exercising. You lift weights or you stretch, you want to feel the strain a little bit, but you don't want to break anything and you don't want to really hurt. You don't want to get into pain. And that way, that develops the muscles. We're developing our muscles. We've been lazy, and that's not a criticism, but it's just the inertia of the situation. We've been domesticated. We want to find our wild nature again and mature it. We want to go back and reach into prehistory and bring out what originally we were intended to be and bring it up to date in a mature fashion. And as we intend to do this, we're still discovering how. And because we're in alignment with the cosmos and the underworlds, and in this process, especially those of us that are conscious about it, there's no time running out. Just look at what they're excuse upon excuse. The world is going to end. The sun's going to explode. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. Oh, sorry, it's going to happen tomorrow. Oh, another date's coming. All of this is to keep us from saying, no, I'm the one defining the possibilities. I know I have to face the shadow, but today I can only face it this much. And
Yeah.
and knowing, working out exactly to your natural limit does a hell of a lot more than pushing yourself in the name of, oh, but I have to get everything done and I have to help all these people. You're helping people a hell of a lot more when you help yourself in a mature manner and opening to the natural wisdom of yourself.
Yeah, I think we're going to pretty much wrap it up
Okay.
there. We're about approximately 25 minutes into this now.
There is
And
one little thing I'd like to add.
okay,
Um,
go ahead.
just one thing. Many people listen to videos like this and they view them as philosophy or theory, or isn't it great, or isn't it uplifting. I'd like to encourage people to listen to the videos in terms of application potential. How can I apply this into my life? Just ask that question in your meditation or with yourself when you're quiet and see what comes. It's not philosophy. It's not something that I thought up. It's not, oh, this is a wise person or you're a wise person. This is potential experience. I've gone, if anything, something that I may have done that other people usually do not do is open up to a certain flow, just like Peter Van Runt said, And this flow sometimes, when I have those questions that you have, I ask this flow. Well, yeah, and it says, well, you have all of this, you know about physics, you know about this, put it all together. Here's the impulse. And now share it, but share it in a way where people, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So I encourage people to just bend their necks over and find that water, touch their lips to it, and just suck it in if they can.
Yes, thank you, Aristos. Is Wednesday a good day for you?
Usually it is, but if you can notify me a day in advance or the evening in advance, I'll be sure
I,
to.
it just dawned on me last night that today would be a good day to do it, so I apologize for not giving you more.
Well, you gave me the hint in yesterday's video. You said I'm going to do a video with Aristo one of these days, and I was like, well, it's really likely it's going to be tomorrow, but so it was really me that couldn't make it on time.
Well, I'm thinking I changed my meeting night here from Wednesday to Thursday. So, and Thursdays there is a class that I've missed 4 weeks in a row because things always seem to interrupt it. The Mystics in Training group that I
Yes.
used to go to regularly. I haven't been there now in 4 weeks. But if I do this on Wednesday, this will be Thursday's video, and it will hopefully free me up from possible conflicts and things that delay me from getting there. So I'd like to try to do you on Wednesdays at least till further notice, and
Okay.
have that become the Thursday video.
Okay. That makes it a
Okay.
lot easier, I guess.
All right, and I'm saying that in publicly so that other people can say, "Oh, Thursday we're going to hear Aristo and Ron talk." So
So
it'll
we
be
can shut off our
another
computers.
conversation. All right.
Philosophy. Okay.
Once again, I do thank you, and
Well, thank you.
namaste.
Namaste, Ron.
All right.
See
Bye
you on
bye
the
for
other
now.
side. Bye.
Yep.